Southwest Airlines is total chaos. They don't have any signs, so everybody pours. They've flown Southwest recently. Jesse and Kelly DeForest, when we went to New Orleans a couple of weeks ago, they flew Southwest. No assigned seats. It's like Charles Manson took over the airlines. Helter skelter, my friends.
Exactly.
Imagine it. It's like musical chairs. All of a sudden, people are like diving for seats. As if you went to a concert and you just opened the gates or a ball. Imagine if you went to a ball game. And it happens in Saratoga, I guess, which is opening up there. Later on this week, Saratoga Race Course, where the people are piled up by the gate. And as soon as they open the gate, they all make a mad dash to try and climb one of the tables outside. I mean, people running. People have guys stashing there. They pay people to wait online and claim a table for them.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
I don't hear you. It's doing the thing where I can't hear you. That's with the cable. Yeah. Hold on. I don't think it can. Yeah, I'm fine. All right, this is the Defo Show with Lubie. It's always fun on a Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge Thursday. We're going to try and have a full edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Visiting Dave Gurgles Gurgly is in the Maldives. So we were probably going to do a little mini trivia challenge with Defo me. And then I just heard from the one and only Dave Gurgles Gurgly minutes ago. He wants to try it. We haven't gone international ever. No, because whenever I've been out, I don't do the shows, and Defo does. I guess if you call the Caribbean international, I'm sure we did something when Defo was like in the Bahamas or something with the old setup. But we haven't gone international with South Florida Live yet, so we're going to try and go international in the next 30 minutes with one and only Dave Gurgles Gurgly, a dedicated professional. He's doing his thing, enjoying himself, and he wants to see if it'll work. So hey, we're going to try and give that a try. That's not redundant. In about a half an hour, hopefully everyone's having a good morning. We're getting closer to the weekend. Thank goodness. Defo should be here. He's here. If you were joined with us 2 minutes ago, you saw him. I did not hear. Maybe you heard him. I did not hear him. So we're trying to get that worked out. It's always fun. You never know in this world, whether we're at the radio station or here, technical things pop up. Hopefully everyone's having a good week so far. Not much going on in the sports world except for the baseball. Well, Marlins have inched back closer to 500 after two really disappointing losses to the Pirates last night. I think it's their fourth or fifth walk-off win of the season. They got the Pirates 5-4, and they're sitting there right around 500 in the last week of action before the All-Star break. Marlins within 3 to 4 games of the wild card. Let's see if one on Defo works now.
How you doing there, Lubie? You got me?
That was magic. I was talking to you. We started things. I couldn't hear you. Now I can. So the magic of technology.
No, when I was listening to the intro, it sounded very funky. I was hoping that wasn't going out that way to everybody. I thought maybe it was just a little screw up here inside my system. But nonetheless, good to be with you. Hey, how'd you do? You took the show right to this point, and people, it's good to be with you. This is going to be very interesting. You see Hialeah Park in the background. Of course, Thursday is our day for the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Yeah. I have one for you, Lubie. You want to be challenged right away?
Sure.
All right. I just saw earlier, and my dog comes down. Well, they actually both come down, but Skippy is the leader of the pack. He instigates this thing because my dog Skippy, he comes down and wakes me up at about 2:30, 3 o'clock, almost routinely every morning. Like he's got a clock in his head. This dog.
No.
All right. He usually comes down a couple of times a night, and the routine is I let him outside, and then he wants something to eat. Right? They both give me that look like, hey, the hell, what about us? Can we get a little bit of that chicken parmesan you sucked down last night with Leslie Visser and the great chimp Namius?
Oh my
I always get that wrong because it rhymes with ham.
Well, it looks
It
like
looks like
Namius.
Namius, but it's
He wants it to be Namius.
Namius. Like, yeah. Is that like Tony Dorsett? I mean, you should honor the guy's way of wanting to have his name pronounced. I remember people resented Tony Dorsett for wanting to be called Tony Dorset, right?
Dorset,
Remember, he
right.
wanted to change it to Dorset.
It was like an
It's like, you're Tony Dorsett. What are you talking about, Tony? You can't be Tony Dorsett. Like,
you're like
just fucking name.
You're mad at him for what he wants to be called.
Right? You're mad because he wants to have his name pronounced properly. I mean, it's a little different. You know, sometimes guys change names completely. Yeah. Like Mike Stanton became Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more complicated. You know, and every now and then I look at the guy and go, wow, there's Mike Stanton. And I realize, oh, geez, no, that would be insulting to the guy. He's Giancarlo Stanton. You know, it's not the same as Muhammad Ali changing his name. And then, you know, he beat the living daylights out of Floyd Patterson because he wouldn't call him Muhammad Ali. And remember, that was the fight, I think, where he kept screaming, what's my name? Oh, that was Joe Frazier. Wasn't it? No, it wasn't Frazier. It had to be Floyd Patterson, right? He kept yelling, what's my name? Because he had just made the change. And it took a while for people to catch on with that, right? You still were calling him Cassius Clay, you know, like maybe even months after he had made that switch. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, who, by the way, surfaced in that 3-on-3 league, which is a strange thing to watch. I mean, how did that get on television? That 3-on-3 basketball. I mean, are they that desperate for summer programming? I know, look, basketball is extremely popular right now. Lubie could probably do the whole show about NBA free agency.
Oh, yes, 100%.
We have to pay homage to the great Jim Sarney, who was gracious enough to come out yesterday and did it was like a rebirth for me. We had a secondary. I wasn't in town for my birthday, and Jim came out to the Even Keel Fish Shack where we were doing the Mike Mayo lunchbox yesterday, which is always a good thing, too, because you know Brad's going to bring something out there. And yesterday, very unique version of those Bang Bang shrimp that he makes. Absolutely fantastic. And you know, we sucked down a couple of cocktails, and Jim bought a cake out there. But, well, it was a key lime pie, which was even better than having a cake. I would much prefer the key lime pie.
Yep.
Did he have to get the numbers right to 71? I quickly reversed the 1 and a 7. I mean, it's not like I feel like I'm 17. I just wish I was 17 all over again. I don't know. Do you want to go back over everything? Yes, I would love to have what's that line in the song, Low Spark of High Heel Boys? Would you ask for something if you had one wish? Would you ask for something like a second chance? How about that, Lubie? Think about that conceptually. That was in a song like 50 some odd years ago, and we were hippies and dippies, and we were running around protesting that things weren't right in America. Huh? Sounds familiar.
Yep.
Although the method of protest and you know, the people that are protesting are just on the exact opposite side of where we were. Right now, they're protesting to have your rights restricted.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to get into that because it's too complicated, and you know, it's almost mind-boggling to me that I understand everybody. And now, do people really, the Trumpsters, really think this whole January 6th thing is just a witch hunt after Donald Trump to make sure he doesn't get elected president again? Do people really believe that? Like that there is not a shred of truth to any of the 3,000 witnesses that they've talked to in their testimony, that they're all liars, and that the truth was that the election was stolen? Does anybody still believe that? I don't know. I don't know. We could leave a couple of quarters under a pillow for the tooth fairy also to show up.
No, people don't believe that.
There was something going on there, and it was not kosher, my friends. As who was it? One of these analysts said that, or one of the, it might have even been one of the witnesses said that this makes Watergate look like a Cub Scout troop. What was in operation there by comparison to what was going on here? I don't know. Whatever you believe on that, it's been sort of fascinating to see that a guy that was running the country was just like one step away from being in a jacket that ties in the back. And when you see Giuliani, I mean, I remember that there was mad respect for Rudy Giuliani at one point.
Oh, after in 2001, a lot of change.
What happened to him, man? Did he get hit in the head with a brick, you know, while he was walking by some construction site in New York? What happened to this guy? He lost his mind. He was a well-respected mayor for bringing crime under control in New York City. People could walk the streets again, and you thought, wow, this Rudy Giuliani, he should be president of the United States. Watch out for your wish for.
9/11, like he was like the face of the 9/11 recovery, and he was doing interviews, and he was like in the rubble, and
he was great. Very, very likable and distinguished guy at that point in time. And
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, a couple of marbles shook loose there. But Sarni told us that we should be discussing NHL free agency and the Wild West again in the National Hockey League. They opened up free agency, and there were just all kinds of blockbuster situations occurring, one after another, including this Johnny Gaudreau. I guess is how you pronounce it, Gaudreau. And he's a guy from either New York or New Jersey who everybody thought might go to the Islanders, and he signed a very lucrative deal with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Who the hell goes to Columbus as a free agent? Anybody?
Does exist.
Columbus Blue Jackets. I mean, is that a desirable hockey destination? And that was one of, one of like what seemed like double digits in terms of blockbuster moves that were made in NHL free agency yesterday,
By
including
the way,
the former,
I was gonna say your boy Giroux. Panthers gave up all that crap to try and
Giroux.
Giroux. Sorry,
Yeah.
Giroux. Panthers gave up all that to get Giroux, and got swept in the second round. The point of getting him was to keep him. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know that I can, I really don't want to dump on the organization. I mean, they played very poorly in that second round of the playoffs, and they played poorly in the first round after having this monster regular season. But in general, they had put together what looked like a pretty formidable team, no?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know that anybody could. Bill Zito is the GM's name. I mean, that guy could have been the executive of the year very easily.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, did they just go for the regular season on that? I'm not sure. Former Panther Vinny Trocheck, I believe he was with Nashville last year. Is that right? Vinny Trocheck, was he with the Predators?
He wasn't on the Panthers.
But he goes to the Rangers. That was a big deal for the Rangers. They get Vinny Trocheck, who was one of those guys that most people that were Panther fans always lamented that the Panthers let this guy go. Vinny Trocheck, a hard-nosed guy, was always a catalyst and involved in just about anything that was good. Kind of Jeter-esque in that regard, right? Things that were happening that were good, favorable for the Panthers, you would look and see, oh, yeah, look at that. Trocheck was in on that play. So he goes to the Rangers, and that was Giroux ended up with the Ottawa Senators. Is that a desirable hockey destination? Ottawa, you talk about a hockey outpost, right? Hockey purgatory, playing for the Senators. I guess if you're of Canadian descent, maybe that's like a luxury move, right? It's like a player back in the day going to the Knicks and playing at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I always wanted to play in Ottawa. Not sure.
Well, they must love hockey there. That's one thing about Canada. Like, we're here. If you're a Panther, you can walk around. No one knows who the heck you are there.
Nobody would know who you were. Luongo could walk down the street there. Nobody would have any idea who he was. Yeah.
He's talked about that.
Could be wearing a Hall of Fame jacket now, and
exactly.
People would have no clue. Peter Worrell tried to pass himself off as a white guy. Remember that when he got a pop that time for speeding or something? And he claimed that he was like some guy named Sven.
That's classic.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I mean, hockey recognition factor probably is not that strong. Although you do see the guys' faces, right? Everybody knew who Derek Sanderson was when he was walking around Boston. So I mean. But there was a lot of activity. I mean, Jim, you were right. There was a ton of activity. If you're a hockey fan, I mean, this was monumental type of stuff. I mean, franchise-changing type of stuff. And very interesting that this guy, Gaudreau, who was the most desirable free agent. I mean, this was a guy who had a killer season, 115 points. Of course, I knew nothing about him until Sarni pointed that out to me. So here I am commenting on stuff that I have really no clue about. But we don't try to pretend here that we know what we're doing. But he was right about that. I was very pleasantly surprised to see the level of activity that took place and the amount of stuff that would seem to be of significance that was going on in the NHL yesterday. Of course, I'm immersed. I started telling the story. My dog wakes me up like 3 a.m. today. This was the first time he came down and, roused me, because I'm sleeping down here knowing I have to get up in a couple of hours. And very convenient for me to just roll out of bed and turn on the camera and, get going here on the show. Yeah. So, and I'm expecting him at some point in time. In fact, I must anticipate his arrival because you know how you only remember the last few seconds of a dream that you're having? And I was having a very pleasant dream, I would have to say. And then all of a sudden, there's Skippy. So I'm thinking, wow, okay, 3 a.m., that would be, 9 a.m. in England? Is it 6 hours differential? It's either 5 or 6. I want to say 6. But I could be off by an hour on that. It was 6 in Rome. So is it the same time zone, London
It's 5
and
hours.
Rome?
Right now it's 12:16. So
5.
5 hours.
Okay.
5
Okay.
hours.
I thought that might have been a differential there, but okay. So it's 5 hours. So they're already. I know they already teed off at the British Open, and I have a vested interest in this thing with the golf pool. I've already made a couple of crucial errors because I was going to take one of the Camerons, but I bombed out with Cameron Smith, the guy that looks like some kind of hillbilly from Gainesville.
Kentucky.
He's
Yeah.
got the mullet, and he really looks like this guy just fell out of some biker bar in upstate
Yep.
Florida.
Yeah.
From the Pensacola area or something. And he's a great player, but he had a horrible U.S. Open. I think he missed a cut. He was just awful in the U.S. Open. Now,
Yep.
I had read, that, geez, this isn't going to be a course that favors where the U.S. Open was played, that favors guys that somehow whack it offline. That sounds like a weird way of putting it. Hit the ball offline. Let's put it that way.
Rough.
Right, because the rough is so prohibitive and so penalizing that you end up really having no chance whatsoever. So
Yep.
now I was thinking, if that's the case, then this guy would really be in trouble, even though there are no trees and really nothing blocking you from. The only thing, I guess, it doesn't really become a factor is on the 17th hole. You have to hit the ball over a hotel. This is my kind of course there. You actually have to aim like right over the Road Hole Hotel or whatever it's called, the Old Course Hotel.
Why?
That's what it is. It's set up that way. It's the Road Hole. It's the toughest hole of the St. Andrews layout, and usually plays over par, like slightly over par, like a half a shot over par for the entire field. In fact, there was a playoff 2015, Lubie, my golf recollection being what it is. 2015, all three guys, they have like a 4-hole aggregate. That's how they decide the British Open. If it goes to a playoff, they don't play a whole round. They don't play sudden death. But it's a 4-hole aggregate score. And all three guys bogeyed 17 when they played it. They play like 17, 18, and whatever else. I don't know, 1 and 10. I'm not sure what holes they play. But whatever it is, I guess they're all kind of configured together. Yeah. And all three guys in the playoff bogeyed that hole. So, it's one of those, very, very tricky things where if you're in the bunker, you're screwed. If the ball bounces off that, ricochets off that wall, we've seen that where guys have been trying to hit the ball like with very little room between, where they'd be able to strike the ball with the club and the wall itself. All kinds of crazy stuff happens. But you actually have to aim over the hotel. I believe it says it's either Royal Course Hotel or Old Course Hotel. And some guys say you have to aim over the word course. And others say, well, no, if you really want to get this thing down and have a chance of making a rare birdie on the hole, you have to hit it right over the L in hotel, which could also stand for hell because if you miss it slightly to the right, you're out of bounds.
Yeah, how often that happens also. Because I feel like if I played this hole, if regular players play the hole like people, I would just hit the hotel all the time.
Yes, a low line drive would go right into the second floor window of the hotel. It's not a particularly tall building. I mean, it's not like it's a skyscraper or anything. But you can't see, it's a blind shot off the tee, completely blind shot off the tee. And, you're picking out a marker there. And, these guys are pros. So, I mean, they're able to carve a shot, over this sign and maybe have it hook or slice whatever fade. Whatever direction they wanted to, but nonetheless, that's like the trickiest hole on the entire course. But so I open up this morning at 3:00, and I'm figuring guys are already on the course, and they are. They're playing that now. It's hard to track where the coverage is coming from anymore with some of these events because it starts out on Peacock, and then it moved to USA, and then I would imagine eventually who carries the British Open. Peacock is an NBC affiliate.
Yeah, supposedly it's NBC. When I looked up yesterday, it just kept saying NBC. Then, NBC Properties is what I saw.
All right, very good. And so I saw a bunch of my guys. I mean, the very first thing I see, I had DeChambeau, who's actually doing well. I think he's 3 under at this stage, late in the round. He was on 14, 3 under. But the first thing I see after Skippy wakes me up, I turn on the TV, and he misses like a 2-foot putt for birdie on the first hole. Of course. And then the next shot I see of him, he's missing a 3-foot putt for par on the second hole. And I'm thinking, this is not going well, right? You just want to take a revolver and put it under your chin like the warden in Shawshank. To be hopelessly out of the event within a couple of seconds of them teeing off with the first group. But we'll see how it shakes out. Right now, Cameron Young is the leader, 7 under par. He has a 3-shot lead over McIlroy. Young is through 13, and McIlroy is through 8 holes. And Cameron Smith is up there also, 4 under par. This is a guy that I bombed with in the U.S. Open. Your man Ian Poulter shot 69 today, 3 under par. So he's on the leaderboard as well. But still very early in the tournament. The wind is not a big factor right now. And that's usually the thing that, wind is a 4-letter word in golf anyway, but especially a giant factor if you're talking about the British Open, where even if you're in the fairway, you could be in a spot that would be completely undesirable with the undulation and the layout of the fairways. And the ball rolls forever on this course, and it looks pretty dry and very fast. You're seeing guys having 100-foot putts for eagle on the par 5, like literally, I'm putting from 100 feet away. Imagine that, a 30-yard putt. And these guys are amazing putters because they'll get the ball within like a half an inch of the hole there if they don't make it outright. But wild start, low scoring already. I mean, they're just shooting lights out here at the British Open. They're attacking this course and bringing St. Andrews to its proverbial knees, my friend.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to try an experiment here on the show. We've already been experimenting a little bit. Do you think this is going to work out? We have Dave Gurgly.
He's not able to.
Spotty?
Connect. Yeah, he's
okay.
trying. That's what that noise is. He's trying, but he's not coming up.
How far, what other region of the universe are the Maldives located in? Isn't that like a 12-hour time differential?
It's like super out east. Like it's like
way out there. Yeah. Way out there, off the grid, yeah. So Gurgles was going to try and connect with us and see if we couldn't do the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge internationally today. I have the question. I mentioned this. I started to ask this question here just to give you a little trivia.
Yeah.
Kind of get the ball rolling here, get you thinking a little bit. All right. So Mark Calcavecchia won the British Open in 1989. It'll be 1989.
Okay.
And he won it in a 3-man playoff versus whom? All right. You can give me either of the guys. Well, anybody could look this up now, but if you knew this off the top of your head, 1989. And I was surprised. Calcavecchia, I mean, he's still playing, right? I guess he plays the Champions Tour.
Jesus.
Well, he's out there. I mean, former champions are all invited back unless you're persona non grata like Greg Norman is. Won't be seeing him around here no more. Right? He's got a little turban on or whatever. I mean, that thing that you wear on your head. If you're supporting the Saudis, and the prince is following him around everywhere that he goes saying, I've got money. Don't worry. I did harbor some resentment for Brooks Koepka, mostly because he seemed the most insincere of all of the guys that jumped to the Live Tour, didn't he? Brooks Koepka, who condemned it, and he said he was sick of answering questions about it, and then the next day he signed for $120 million.
Exactly.
And he thought, come on, Brooks, which side of the fence are you on? I guess his brother is sort of a fringe pro of Koepka's brother. And he was already on the Live Tour, so I don't know. Maybe you can make a case that this was a good move on his behalf. I'm not sure. Anyway, all right, so who were the guys that Calcavecchia beat in that playoff? Well, we're getting Andy O'Meara and Paul Azinger, neither of which happen to be the answer. But
Tom Kite.
Tom Kite, that's a good one.
Always there in the 80s and the 90s. He was like always around. I remember Tom Kite.
Tom Kite was always flying high at the British Open. Yeah, that would have been the headline.
I want to get it right. I figured
no Tom Kite. No Tom Kite whatsoever.
I want some other people to guess. Chime in, guess.
Right? Yeah. Who are the two guys that were beaten in the playoff by Mark Calcavecchia when he won his British Open title? I sort of remember it vaguely. I remember Calcavecchia was a very popular American player, obviously, and seemed like a really decent guy. Come across him a couple of times back in the day when he was playing, and he always seemed to be an approachable and, sort of outgoing, genuine, sincere character, not, one of these guys that's just a complete stiff and you think you're talking to a robot. He seemed to have a lot of personality, Calcavecchia. He had a little bit of a pot belly then at the time also, so, I'm always rooting for the fat guys. And in 89, he beat who in the playoff? All right, we're going to throw that out there for your consumption here. So no shot with Gurgles. That's scratch?
No,
not happening?
To get it to work where he could pop on and see us and we see him. So he's going to take a video of his digs in the Maldives, and it's a 9-hour time difference. 9 hours. He's gonna
9-hour difference.
video, and we'll post that on our YouTube, the South Florida Live worldwide. So we'll post that.
Sounds good.
Experiences in the Maldives.
All right, very good. All right, so the tournament's on though, and wow, I mean, just jam packed there. DeChambeau -3 through 15 now. Ernie Els, easy Ernie Els, who I laughed when I saw his name on the list, and I do have entries from other people too. Tommy Hutton weighed in. I didn't
nice.
Put him in officially. We got some picks from Tommy Hutton. And Jim Sarney and Mayo both made their picks, although I may have lost the sheet that they picked them on. So we'll just assume that they're doing well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always the way to go, right? Better assume they're doing well than think that they were laying an egg and bombing out. All right, we'll be with you until 9 o'clock this morning. The hockey thing was kind of wild. The golf tournament, you have to love it, although I don't like seeing these guys in overwhelmingly favorable conditions for scoring, because it's always great when these pros are being tortured a little bit, no? And the degree of difficulty is very high. I like howling winds, the pasty-looking people. We've talked about it many times. It usually looks like a scene out of a Dickens novel with fog. Very depressing, scenery all around. And, bogey for DeChambeau here. Yes, stupid. This betting golf will make you absolutely.
I know, you're so absorbed in this golf. I'm like, I wouldn't even know it was on. It wasn't for you.
Opening round at British Open, 3 a.m, and I'm riveted to the television set. Unbelievable. Only because I have like $50 riding in this pool.
Exactly.
So you never connected with John Conchemi, huh? John wasn't able to make it as part of the show now?
No, he can't jump on, and I wanted him on so bad just to give us a little bit of help, but it wouldn't have mattered, actually. It's already started, so it wouldn't have counted anyways. But it would have been cool to talk about.
Well, no, I mean, he could have, it's still early. I mean, none of this may continue the way it's going, because one errant shot, and you could lose like, 3-4 shots in this tournament. One errant shot, and the degree of difficulty. If you're in one of these bunkers, you might be in it for the next 3 shots. Because the key to winning at St. Andrews, I can tell you this, Lubie, from reading various golf analysis and many different people's opinion on this. But Tiger Woods himself would tell you the key to winning is to stay out of the bunkers. Tiger Woods, at one of his tours of St. Andrews, where he was a winner, never was in a bunker the entire time. There were 112 bunkers on the course.
Jesus.
Never hit a bunker, and don't screw up the road hole. Those are the 2 big rules of thumb. Never go into bunkers, no road hole. Stay off the ropes there, Louie. I told you to stay off the ropes. Kind of like that, right? You can hear Lou Duvey yelling in the corner, "Come on, Vinny!"
Be Ballesteros.
Right?
Andy guessed on your question, Sevi Ballesteros and Don
January.
I don't even know.
January would be... he was on like Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. Al Finsterwald.
Don January.
Shows you that I had a misspent youth, or really didn't have a whole lot to do, because I remember watching, and I want to say that the host was the guy that did the Lipton tea commercials of Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. What was it, George Fenneman? Did he host that show? I might be wrong about that. George Fenneman.
Okay, so Lenny guessed Faldo. We already had an Azinger. Is it Faldo? Nick Faldo.
No Faldo involved, but a good guess.
No Faldo.
Yeah. So very interesting. One guy would be very hard to come up with. The other guy probably should be on the tip of everybody's tongue. So those were the 2 guys in the playoff. 1989, Mark Calcavecchia. Well, we have bonus points. If you don't look it up, I mean, we're
don't cheat here. I would love to see
imposing on your integrity here. We're absolutely imploring you to have integrity as listeners and viewers of the show, and not look this up. Okay?
Yeah. I would love to see if someone can just pull this out of their ass. Like, that would be great. Just start naming golfers
this way. Yeah. Just start naming golfers.
That's what I'm doing in my head. I've come up with like 6, and I'm like, I know they played in that era.
No, you're. I mean, these are all reasonable guesses. Down in January. I mean, obviously, Andy's fooling around with that, right? I'm surprised he didn't give us Finsterwald. Dow Finsterwald. Remember this cat? Dow Finsterwald. I want to say he was like a skinny, nondescript, guy that.
Yeah.
But he was very prominent in that era there. Tony Jacklin. Remember Tony Jacklin? The dashing Englishman. But that was way before the 1989 tournament was conducted. All right. Like I said, one should be fairly apparent. I mean, it's a name that's being bounced around quite a bit right now, and the other one I couldn't come up with if you had a knife to my throat and said you have 3 guesses or you're going to die. No chance. We will continue. I was reading an article today about unfinished business in the NFL as teams go to training camp. The biggest part of which would be Deshaun Watson. What's going on with that?
That's a good one.
Where are the rumors? Where are the leaks? Where's all of the information that you usually get on this, which somehow is supposedly like top secret, but everybody knows what's going to happen. Not sure on the possible suspension of Deshaun Watson. One thing I read though, and I wasn't aware of this, and I don't know how it impacts his signing bonuses, but he got the fully guaranteed contract. But the contract, if he's suspended for a year, doesn't really start until he comes back.
Yep.
So the Browns maybe weren't as stupid as we thought on the surface.
Now the first year supposedly is like $1 million. Like supposedly Watson's team and the Browns set it up in case he was suspended. Like they knew going into that first year he probably wasn't going to play.
It would be an ugly scene, wouldn't it, for the NFL? You know, when they're trying to say that they're on the righteous side of all women's causes. They have everybody wearing pink shoes, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they're doing all of these great things for women, and they're putting women into executive positions and coaching positions, and they can't do enough. They're bending over backwards to help women, to then condone a guy who might have assaulted, as many as 25, 30 different women.
Exactly.
Maybe even more, right?
Okay, what about
in a bizarre fashion?
And Colin Montgomery?
Norman is one of them. Yeah.
One of them. Once you said he's the guy that's in the news a lot now, you were giving him the hint. So good job.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that one out there. Yeah. So the other one, Monty. Monty was.
Is he even playing then?
Who's that? Monty.
In the late
Monty
80s?
was around then. Yeah, I would think Monty was pretty prominent back in that period of time. Or that might have even been before.
I remember the 90s.
Colin Montgomery came up, as a big time player. All right, the other guy. I will give you this. He's an American. So that's the one hint we have on the other guy that was in that '89 playoff, and appreciate all of the input here. Hialeah Park. I mean, and this is all part of the spirit of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And wow, do I have my entries here? I do, Lubie. How about this? You know what today is? I thought this was going to be I thought it was going to be the headline on the back page of the Post, but they're so into baseball right now that the Mets beating the Braves yesterday was the big story, and I got the back page coverage. Mets had a 10.5 game lead at one point. It was dwindled down to 1 and a hook. They beat the Braves yesterday, and I guess that puts them back on top by 2.5, but no guarantee. DeGrom, by the way, is pitching tonight as he will go in a AAA rehab assignment, supposedly throw 50 pitches. He's been lights out so far. He had 2 rehab starts for a total of about 4 1/3 innings, I want to say, and struck out like everybody that he faced pretty much, and was throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. Looks ready to go. But you know what happens with Jacob DeGrom, unfortunately, for you Met fans out there, and you Met diehards. I don't mean to deflate the balloon right away. But usually he comes back, throws like 2 pitches, and he's back on the IL.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So here we go. We have them right here. The Saratoga entries for today. Good idea to get down to Hialeah Park and start playing all of these horses here, including, wow, look at this. Massive, giant fields. That whole page is Saratoga entries, my friend.
Nice.
And you couldn't have a prettier looking page of a newspaper than to have the opening day of Saratoga entries printed for you as you sit down on the throne and go, let me make my imaginary pick 5, because there's no way I could hit it if I bet it. Impossible to figure, though. And, this is great. People always complain, geez, California racing sucks because there are only like 3 horses in every field. And you're seeing a lot of that. Big stakes races only on a field of 6. This gets everybody right out of that whole syndrome, that ugliness, as you have a 10-race card, mostly big fields, and perfect place to bet at Hialeah Park because it's a perfect fusion of the atmosphere of Saratoga and the ability to just punch away to your heart's content. As you can walk outside there, smoke a cigar on the veranda, or maybe go, I like that little area. I used to love that bar there. That was at, I'm not good with directions. I want to say, would it be the south end of the track? and they got that little area there, which is like a patio, and it's just fantastic. You get the fresh air coming in, copping a couple of cocktails. They have the tables around. It's just absolutely great. Sit out there, you get the whole atmosphere of Hialeah Park from back in the glory days of racing. You'll feel like you're at Saratoga because it's as picturesque and just as stunning and breathtaking a view as you would get if you were rolling around the grounds there at Saratoga. And you have just the most efficient way to bet horses, whether you want to go to the live tellers, Grand Mutual clerks, or the abundance of self-betting machines. You're not getting shut out at Hialeah Park. That should be among their slogans, right? Hialeah Park.
You're not getting shut out here.
Never get shut out. Not have to worry about some schmank betting his 10-cent supers, and you're going, hey, what do you got $1.20 in the machine? You're going to stand here all day? You've got 2 sticks in your hand ready to just plunge.
Yeah.
Great atmosphere, tremendous brass rail bar, crossover cafe, food from all over the place. You're able to get, they'll bring it to you right there in the Champion simulcasting room. You can play a little poker. Maybe you're not having so much luck betting the ponies with your own opinion. Go down and check out what Steve Calabro has going down in the casino. And I always like that way. You can replenish your bankroll by hitting a machine, whether it's, in my case, usually video poker or maybe one of those Royal Reels machines. Who knows? Maybe you walk out of there with like 50 dimes. And you're thinking, what's better than this? Nothing. Hialeah Park. It's a perfect place to go for all your favorite Vegas-style games, all kinds of entertainment, special events. HialeahPark.com gives you all the details about how you can get involved there. Entertainment always coming up periodically at Hialeah Park, and always good stuff, dynamite stuff, like the boxing and the concerts they have. Always great. Everything that you could possibly want in an entertainment destination is all available to you right here in town at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more. We won't be able to conduct an official trivia challenge. We tried to connect. How about that? I mean, that's really going to the extra yard there by Gurgles.
Yeah, I give him credit because I wouldn't do that. Whenever I'm overseas, I'm doing work after the show, before the show, but I'm never on.
What can you tell me about the Maldives? Do you know anything about it? Maldives.
Shirley wants
I
to
know
go.
it's a very exotic, sort of waterway type of or water-oriented destination.
Yes, the water,
very
beautiful,
exotic, right?
Beaches, I think the mountains, and you're staying in, I don't know if it's huts, but you're staying in like hotels that are over the water is really the big thing.
Oh, yeah? Okay. The only thing I knew about it was there was this, sort of corny surfing movie called Chasing Mavericks. It wasn't really corny, but, the guy's name was Frosty, who was like the big mentor for this kid named Jay, who I guess was it was based on a guy's real life, some guy named Jay something. And Jay wanted to, in Mavericks are, the famous set of waves that come through in Northern California when, like, the perfect storm is happening, right? Like the Andrea Gale has to surface on the horizon, and then oh, man, it's coming. And these are like giant waves. I mean, like 50-foot waves. No picnic for anybody. And so this kid wants to learn how to ride them, and he goes through all this arduous stuff, and he eventually becomes a maverick, and a big wave surfer. And he ends up losing his life as he goes free diving in the Maldives. And that was the only thing I remember about the Maldives. And I was thinking, well, that must be some kind of exotic location for this kind of stuff. So anyway, and what inspired Gurgles to go there? Just world travel? I think he's got another one of his shippers that he brought with him.
Yes.
Which is a great system, man.
And they split the cost, which I give him credit.
Probably pick up a couple of dinner tabs. Well, there's a novel concept, Eve.
They split the cost, and he uses points on his end, so he usually doesn't come out of pocket much, which is impressive.
He's great, man. I mean, you know what? He was always involved with the media, Gurgles, but that aspect of media life, he really has taken advantage of, which is if it's free, it's me. I'm going. All right, we'll come back with more. We'll take you up until 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. Always a pleasure being with you. 12 o'clock today, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, and Mike's going to be on the road. And what is the name of this place?
The Bang Shack. The Bang Shack. In Hollywood.
Been to a few places that could have been called that, but never a restaurant.
This is not
Bang Shack, man.
It's not dirty. It's delicious. From what the menu looks really cool. The guy was on literally the Shark Tank. It's like a chicken kind of spread that he's turned into a whole thing. He puts it on sandwiches. He puts it on pasta. Puts it on hot dogs. He does a whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Cool. gotten really
All
popular.
right, should be fun. Nikki Mohan, of course, longtime newscaster here in South Florida, just a lovely young lady and a real delight. She's going to be a part of that thing, so you can catch that on South Florida Live at 12 o'clock. Now, am I on or off that thing? Because
He wants
it
you to
does
be on
seem
the segment. I just don't get why.
it seems kind of useless, right? It's
What do you do?
you guys are there. You got plenty of people to cover the action, and I serve no purpose. Now, there used to be a reason for it. Just in case things crapped out. But that has been rendered useless also due to certain changes in the platforms that we have right now for that show, including this one. But we're live at 12 o'clock there. I mean, I'll punch it on and say hello. It's up to you, Lubie. You're producing.
If you're
What do
at
you think?
home, you say, come on, say hey, and then tap out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It's cool to have you on. It's just, I know how that is to be the guy that's like, just
you're just sitting there, staring into the camera here, especially now when you're actually on. I mean, when it used to be in the past, you would have you'd be able to call your bookie, make some bets while the other guy was yapping,
exactly.
whatever.
No,
Exactly. Now you're just there like, hey. Cameron Young. Why didn't I take the two Camerons, man? I'd be 11 under with these two guys.
Well, whatever. The one guy screwed you last time.
Well, we need them to go back, right? These guys need to start coming back to the pack. Cameron Young, Cameron Smith. And see, you can't let one bad effort influence you against a guy that you know to be consistent. Does that make sense, Lubie?
Yeah, but that's what we do all the time.
After that last experience with this guy where he was like 5 over within 2 holes of the U.S. Open, Cameron Smith talking about, and I had never played him before, and he was always a giant factor with a lot of top 5 and top 10 finishes. And the minute I jump off the bandwagon there, the guy's shooting lights out. Just incredible. All right, we're coming back with more. It is interesting, though. They are slaughtering this course. That used to be, one of the headlines when the Blue Monster had no win. And it turned out for the pros, it was a piece of cake. It was like going around a miniature golf course for them when the wind wasn't blowing at Doral on the Blue Monster. And somebody would inevitably either write or say that the players have brought the Blue Monster to its proverbial knees.
I love that. Yeah, I love when they say that expression.
To its knees.
You don't understand what it means. Like it's an inanimate
Begging
object.
for mercy, like, please, like a masked wrestler in the corner there, just saying, no, please, not the atomic skull crusher.
Exactly.
All right, back with more in a moment here. Hialeah Park, great place to bet Saratoga. Saratoga, I wish I had an opinion on any of these races, but I don't. You got to pledge your monster going, I think, in the second race here. They have a lot of 2-year-old races where, horses are very high-priced horses from fancy schmancy barns are making their debuts. And, so there's a lot of that going on. That's a lot of fun. That's a great aspect of the game. And the second race today is for 2-year-olds, Lubie, $100,000 purse. How about that? They're not fooling around with this thing. There's a maiden race with $105,000 purse. And the favorite in the race is, maybe this is an omen, Chocolate Gelato. And that is a Micropoli Todd Pletcher special with Iran Ortiz in the boot, making a first-time start. What do you think, Lubie? Shy away? Because this is the graveyard of favorites, Saratoga. I thought Belmont was the graveyard of favorites.
Exactly.
Toga, though, I mean, forget about it. I'm really amazed they didn't put this on the back page. The Mets must really be a big story.
Oh, the Mets and the Yankees are everything right now. Yep.
I swore when I picked up my paper today that you were going to see a giant toga, and a picture of the storied racetrack, Saratoga, which opens up today, later on this afternoon, 1:05 at the first post. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. We'll keep crying about our picks in the golf tournament, even though they're only started out halfway through the first round. Although many players already have finished their round, including an amateur who shot 4 under, some guy named Brown.
Nice.
Yeah. Here's another guy, Shoffley, another guy that you could have considered. Miss it. There you go. Literally screaming at the television for everybody I don't have to miss every putt. Miss it. Back with more in a moment. Now that. The time. 7:46. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Francois Lebec. Good morning, Francois.
Listen to me one moment, please. You fat ass. Tired of the way you speak about the Canadians? We are good people. We're here vacationing on the beach. We bring our dollars here, and you're always putting down the Canadians, and me personally, and sick and tired of your crap. And you're not losing weight. I saw you the game. You're fat like a pig. The other thing that I would like to say is that you're going to throw out some baseball. I will be there personally to boo you out of the stadium. We come here as good people, friendly people, nice people. We don't need you to speak like you speak, Jeffrey, the fat ass the forest.
The Defo Show, featuring Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to have you with us here. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We weren't able to connect with Dave Gurgly in the Maldives, but how long is he going to be gone for, Dave Gurgly?
10 days, but it'll cover, I think he got
next
there
week.
yesterday.
Okay.
So he's missing this week and next week, but he'll be back, I guess, the end of next week and be with us 2 Thursdays.
All right. Well, this kind of, didn't work out, but next week we'll make sure we have, an assemblage and a compilation of very, very difficult brain-busting questions that we can ask, so we can challenge our listeners here with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We never forget about Hialeah Park and their unwavering support of everything that we've done, and I really do mean that. I mean, if you wanted to combine and really get the feel of Saratoga while you were here in town, go to Hialeah Park and punch away in a champion simulcasting room. John Daly is out there knocking it around. Looks very strange with this beard. John Daly, former British Open champion. And, one of those guys that because he was so honest about his problems, you were always rooting for him, no? John Daly.
Oh, John Daly, and no one hated him. It's like Charlie Sheen. Like Charlie Sheen was the biggest degenerate, and everyone rooted for him because he was just classic. He just didn't give a shit.
Shot one over for the tournament. So he's beating some of my guys. I could have taken John Daly.
There you go.
That's not good. I need this guy to miss his putt. I don't want to give you just a play-by-play. I sound like I'm doing the old Eddie Kaplan show, where Eddie K was at various highlight frontons, dog tracks, and his big play, Eddie K, my good friend Eddie K, longtime sportscaster here in South Florida. I haven't talked to him for a while, so how good of a friend could he be? No, I mean, he's just one of those guys. He lays low. I mean, nobody sees him or hears from him for years, and then you realize, wow, you still look the same, Eddie. That's great. Because every now and then I'll see him at a boxing event, but I haven't been to a local boxing show. He didn't come out to Hialeah.
Yeah.
And that was the last local boxing show I was at, and the first one in a while. But he was always immersed in the Quinella double was his favorite bet at Hialeah, the Quinn double, where you hit the Quinella in game 5, and then if you have however many winning tickets you have, I guess, on that quinella combination, you get that many corresponding chances to pick the winning quinella in the next game. All right. So, or I get no, you probably had to bet it all at once, right? Yeah, that would make more sense. It wasn't like you got an exchange ticket for the quinella double, because the Tri Super, which was, I mean, whose ever invention that was a sick individual. The Tri Super, where you have to hit a trifecta in one race, and then if you have the trifecta, say you have one winning ticket on the tri, you get like a nominal amount of money, Lubie, and then you exchange it for like a cold super ticket. Only Red Deer Randy Moeller could possibly be happy with
You
this
sound like you're
proposition,
getting into
right?
Moeller territory. I'm like, this sounds like
That's
Moeller.
Moeller-esque, yeah, Moeller-esque. He'll come up and say, what did it come in? 3257? Look at that. What do I have here? You're like, that looks like 3257, Randy. One ticket, he's got it for like $3, the superfecta that pays 12 grand. No, he has that kind of luck. Polyman hit one. That's the reason I noticed. Polyman hit one while we were taping a television show at the Flagler Greyhound track. And Polyman says to me, he was on one of the segments of the show. We were doing like 2-3 of them at a time. So, I was still on the set there doing whatever I was in the other segments. And Polyman says to me as he finishes up one of the segments, and we're sort of in a short break there while he's disconnecting himself from the microphone and everything. He says, you got $20, I like a dog in this race at Memphis. All right, so he's betting a dog track in Memphis, right, where the attendance is probably pretty meager, and the pools were not exactly flooded with capital. So he bets the trifecta, and we hit it, and I'm thinking, oh, good, I'm going to get back a couple of hundred, and he comes back to the table so depressed, Lubie. I've never seen Polyman. You've seen Polyman look like he was ready to keel over when he used to come to the studio.
Yep.
Right, and we were thinking, hey, I love you, Polyman, but if you're going to do this, breathe some life in. And he was always great at this too. I mean, no matter what kind of thing was going on in his life, often very treacherous and overwhelmingly pressurized, in certain financial situations. He always rose to the occasion, and it was just like a jolly fellow. That's one of the things that we loved about him on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. So anyway, comes back to the set there, all depressed, and it gives me like $38 and says, it was the first half of a Tri Super. We only got back like $76. And then he had one cold ticket on the superfecta, and what happens? He hits it. And he was one of two people that hit it. The whole pool was $10,000. So we ended up with $5 grand, the Polyman. All of a sudden, he had a stack of sticks. That was like an accordion, man. Yeah. He's handing a makeup girl 200, a couple of hundred over here. Hey, Joe, can you get me a soda? Yeah, here's 100. Keep the change. It was great. But, normally, I mean, you would have to think that you were playing into a level of treachery. They just established a new thing in roulette. I don't know if you've seen this, Libby. You're not a big roulette guy.
No.
And I don't even venture to the table anymore unless I have to be way ahead to, go ahead and plunge on a roulette game anymore. And I've had some success at it over the years. But let's face it, the game is not designed for you to win money. Because of the 0 and 00. So you know what the new development is for you degenerate sickos out there? 000 roulette.
Oh, no.
They've added in another number, but they haven't adjusted the payoff.
Exactly.
The payoff is still 35-1, but the odds against you hitting are now 38-1. So there you have it, as Gordon Soley would say. I mean, you're wondering what advantage is it for the house to run these games when you see guys walking back to the cashier with stacks of chips? Guess what? They're getting your money.
Yeah, exactly.
$1 at a time. $1 at a time. 000 though is bordering on evil, right? Now the thing about it is the 3 zeros are all lumped together. Mm-hmm. Like on a normal roulette wheel, you would see a 00 game. You would have the 0 on one side. Is this getting too technical for the?
Yes, but you can go ahead.
To the level of sickness here. I mean, is this like talking about the 2-seamer versus the 4-seamer?
Yes,
I think it is.
You're being Mendoza.
I'm Jessica Mendoza of the roulette wheel.
All right, A-Rod.
I don't even play anymore because, like I said, I mean, your money vanishes in seconds if you're not hitting it. You have to hit something right away in that, or you're gone. That's it. You're gonna be out, and then reaching. That's always embarrassing. Is that like, what's more embarrassing? Reaching into your pocket for more money to re-up while you're at a table game in a casino, or the walk of shame itself to the ATM machine at midnight, like at the stroke of midnight when you can finally get more cash. You're lined up there with 17 other people, all eating a lucky dog while they wait their turn to just whack up their money and then see some exorbitant casino ATM machine fee, which I don't know. You're willing to lose 500, but you don't want to give these guys $5.99 to pick it up. That's part of the depraved thinking of most degenerate gamblers.
I love this.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of your wife who has a strategy with a machine that picks when you win and lose, which is literally an oxymoron. Andy had a strategy for craps where if he threw it a certain way, it would land a certain way. But what does that mean? It doesn't mean it's going to land where you want on what you want it to land on.
Oh, people, you should see the rituals, man. One of the great things about punch ball or stick ball was you had your walk up to the plate.
Okay.
In other words, you would gather some momentum as if you were, spinning around, getting ready to throw a discus or something.
Okay.
And in punch ball, you would have like a 3-4 step walk up to the plate.
Okay.
So, and you would bounce the ball a certain way, like some guys would flick it out there, and so that it would kind of spin back to you.
Okay.
And you would do one of those, and then bounce it a couple of times, and then throw it up in the air, and boom, hit it with your fist. That was great. And in craps, people absolutely 1,000% have their ritualistic styles. They're almost like Nadal, where he wipes the schwitz and then he puts his finger in his ass, starts doing this with his armpits, pulls his shorts up, pulls them out of his rear end, takes his shirt off, folds it neatly, goes back to his table or his rest area there, and then you ever watch him rearrange the water bottle so that the labels? I mean, you talk about OCD, this cat. But that's what they do with the dice, right? The guy, I mean, it's like, throw him already. Just throw him. It's not going to make any difference. It's going to bounce off a chip and, 7 you out anyway. So why don't you just let him go, Like I was saying, Lou Dova telling Vinny Pazienza, let your hands go, kid. You got to let your hands go. In other words, stop getting hit in the face and throw something back.
Do something.
Solid advice.
Yeah, about life.
Oy vey.
God.
So anyway, the 0 and 00 opposite ends of the roulette wheel normally, but now I guess, I don't know, does that make it would make it more advantageous, I would think, if you were playing 0, 00, and 000. I guess, yeah, 000. Can you imagine 000, Lubie? 0.0. It's Blutarsky City for your money in that game. That looks like just a license to steal for the casino.
Okay, is this a good compliment when a guy who's a massive loser at a casino likes how you do something? Like he's like, I swear, Barkley loved how I threw him. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Barkley go down millions of dollars every time he steps foot in a casino.
Rodman, wow. I mean, I'm telling you, it was an eye opener for me, like a moment of awakening that. When they had that documentary on Michael Jordan, and they were talking about Rodman just saying, hey, I need to go on a hiatus there. And he was in Vegas with Carmen Electra, right? I mean, he's banging Carmen Electra in Las Vegas. And I believe that I was there at the time, and Rodman had either just discovered craps or had reached a level of dementia when it came to gambling that he literally was using chips. I had no idea. I'd never seen chips this color before. So you had to think that they were in excess. I've seen yellow is 1,000. Do they have a $10,000 chip? If you're in a casino, a $10,000 chip. Imagine that, Lubie. You're playing with $10,000 chips. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about a guy who the dollar chips go down like manhole covers. And But Rodman, I mean, the purple is 500 and the yellow is 1,000. He was using a color I'd never seen before. Okay, you got the green's 25, the red is 5, and in craps you're inclined to have dollar chips because of the oddity of having to make. Well, I mean, there are different bets that people will bet like $1 or $2 on, or maybe you're throwing it down for the dealers, or with the 6 and the 8, you have to put up $6, 7 to win 6. So. No, you're throwing those extra couple of chips off there. What is it, 6 to win 5? Something like that. I don't know. What am I talking about here, Lubie? Double zeros, triple zeros, and crap strategies. But no, I mean, you'll always see a guy like do something. They'll blow on the dice,
do a whole
You know,
thing, for
they
sure.
put them in their eyeball. They'll like spin them a certain way. They'll line up a hard 8.
The whole thing.
And then they throw them and they spin around like a dreidel. And you look and you go, wow, I thought that was going to be a hard 8 or 6. It looks like a 4 and a 3 to me. And the guy's got that rake, the croupier. He's got the stick man. He's got that rake. They don't even have like a stick anymore. It's a rake. And they rake all the money off the table.
All the money.
Start stacking it up very neatly here so you can buy back what you had a minute ago. All right. I guess this is a good prelude for Degenerate Friday to get into all of this degeneracy. And a lot of it's stoked by and inspired by the fact that Saratoga Racecourse opens up today. Don't forget, get down to Hialeah Park and punch away to Champion Simulcasting Room. Just sort of infuse the air into your body. The breathtaking grounds there at Hialeah Park. Still very much
I love
intact,
that
very much in play.
Sarney covered the actual tournament that you're talking about, and even he doesn't know.
He doesn't know?
He was there covering.
Well, Greg Norman was one of them. We established that. Greg Norman was in the playoff. Mark Calcavecchia. It was a very popular win. People like Calcavecchia. I mean, he was very well regarded. I think people liked Norman back then also, and felt very badly for him that he was always just getting hammered in disgusting fashion. I mean, losing major tournament. How many majors would he have won if he,
I think 2 or
didn't
3
get
more.
hosed? Like, that's one time he's in a playoff there for the British Open in 1989. I believe, I want to say it was a PGA tournament that Bob Tway holed out from the sand trap on 17. I don't know if you remember that. I remember watching that, and it was like, no.
I looked it up yesterday. I think it was a PGA. I looked it up yesterday, and then we moved on 7 times, so I never got to it. But
and then what was it? Was Mize the guy that made the 52-footer and cost the Masters?
it was the
Greg Norman,
86 PGA Championship for Bob Tway. 86 PGA Championship.
How about that, Lubie? Who says we don't know golf? Holy Peter Alice here. That's a pity. That none of my guys. I mean, why didn't I use the 2 Camerons, man? Smith and Young. We'd be on top of this thing and running away and hiding. Anyway, good-looking weather there at St. Andrews, and that usually makes for like ridiculously low scores because I mean it's bump and run, my friend. Guy takes out a drive. They're driving the greens. They're literally driving the greens on the par 4s. I mean,
what they used to call JB Brown's attempt at defense. Bump and run.
JB Brown, I told you this story. I was in a sprint race at Calder Racecourse with JB Brown. The field was Ronnie Holassi. I don't know if you remember this guy, Ronnie Holassi.
No.
Ronnie Holassi was a local long-distance runner that achieved Olympic stature.
Nice.
And he was always any of these local races, like if he was in a 5K or a 10K. And he was also a groom at the track, Ronnie Holassi. So he was in the field. J.B. Brown, wearing number 37, was in the field. And it was me and Todd Schrupp.
Why would they? Probably competing
Imagine
with.
that. I mean, an Olympic champion is going to be like it was a 220 also. I mean, it was 1 furlong, so it was 1/8 of a mile. And Schrupp and I were in a dogfight for the show position.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, and I was embarrassed by it because I should have been able to outrun Schrupp, but Schrupp was very tall and had a big stride. And he was in better shape back then than he is now on TVG, where obviously he's living the good life. Our good friend Todd Schrupp. And I remember what an embarrassment it was because I believe Holassi smoked J.B. Brown in this event, and he was not a sprinter, so you would think that it was kind of a surprise result there. I mean, a lot of people messed up the exacta. Of course, they were unlikely to hit the try. I might have lost to Schrupp on that one. Can you imagine, Libby? I don't even want to admit to that. I think I lost to Schrupp.
Yeah, you were in like your 30s. You should have been in like prime Defo.
Yeah, I was in good shape then. I was still playing a lot of basketball. I mean, that was in my 30s. I was still capable of running, and I remember being surprised because a 220 when you're trying to sprint it is not easy to sustain if you're not used to doing it.
Yeah,
a 220. Yeah, I mean those guys are how they don't pull every Every guy should be pulling a hammy in the 220 in the Olympic Games, no doubt. All right, we're coming back with more. Many things to discuss here on the program. I'm Jeff DeForest. He's Mike Lubie Lubitz. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. That's always a great place to go. And looking forward. We were hoping to get John Congemi on the show today. He's going to, rejoin us in August with the football stuff?
That's the idea.
Is that the plan? Okay.
That's the plan. I mean, some things need to happen.
He hasn't given any indication that he wants nothing more to do with us?
Oh, no, he likes doing it.
Life? Oh, good. Okay.
Waiting on a certain guy with a certain animal last name to, I guess, let us
Tommy
know
Fox.
what's going on. Yeah. Otherwise, we're all in, including John.
Oh, no, we love it, man. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, great place. I mean, just talking about it makes me go back and envision the great time that we had there. And that was my one time there. Combinations, absolutely exquisite. Best combinations I've ever had anywhere. And that includes this recent visit to Atlantic City, where whatever the Mustang is sending into those slot machines has afforded her and accorded her some very phenomenal considerations from the casino host, including like a spectacular multi-view panoramic view of all of the waterways of Atlantic City, which I didn't realize how many there were, actually. From every angle of this hotel room. I mean, you were taking a leak and you were looking out at the ocean. It was just absolutely fantastic. But the accommodations at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, even better than that. I mean, just amazing. Hard to really describe the level of not just elegance, but warmth and comfort that you had staying there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. And the rooms are big enough for like a couple of families to stay there. You know, there are multiple bedroom places. So check that out online, jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com. But if you're just cruising any destination in the Keys, you want to make that a very important stop. I mean, circle it right there on your map and say mile marker 104 Overseas Highway. Great food and drink, great atmosphere, great vibe, right on the bay, beautiful for sunsets. They have music going. Dominic Congemi, very creative in the kitchen. Just does an incredible job. The freshest of seafood. You know you're getting it right off the boats there. Are they back yet? Okay, get a couple of pounds of my. We're going to make sure that we serve the freshest of fish today. And they really do that. It's right out of the ocean and onto your table. At Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, as I said, the bar there, fantastic. All kinds of cocktails and, a lot of innovative stuff. And then the sports bar was remodeled about a year ago, and everybody loves it. Good place to take in like the British Open there, especially if you have money riding on somebody, like one of the Camerons there, Young or Smith, and you're about to cash, and you can splurge for everybody at the bar. Going to be dynamite during the football season as well. We're hoping to get down there, and we hope you'll visit Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill and take advantage of all the great things that are going on there at mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway in Key Largo. He's Mike Lubie Lubitz. I'm Jeff DeForest. 12 o'clock today, Mike Mayo's lunchbox from the Bang Hut. What was that? Bang House?
Yeah.
Bang Shack. Mayo, I mean, I would imagine he'll be distracted today because he'll have one eye on. Fortunately, it doesn't start till after the show, the Saratoga races. But I would bet here's a prop bet, not an over under, but a prop bet. Mayo will or will not have a racing form with him, and be handicapping during the show.
Can he do it online? Because he's fully entrenched in the online app.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, he's online for everything. Right.
Something.
Yeah. If he has a bowel movement, he does it online. It's incredible, this guy. I mean, he's all over it. But all right, so he won't have a racing form then. You're going all in on will not.
Yeah, will not
have a racing form.
Because he probably could get the info online. So I would actually.
All right, who's the other guy, Lubie? 1989, Mark Calcavecchia wins the British Open, 3-man playoff. Greg Norman is one of the guys that he dusted in that playoff. Who was the other? The other was. Ooh. Now we, are going on the honor system here, right? Only take one. No, it's like leaving the Halloween candy outside in a neighborhood where there's nothing but gang violence, and hoping that the guy only takes one lollipop when he comes to your door. I don't want to use any names as an example because all of a sudden it'll be Jill Biden time, right? Where you mention a taco, and all of a sudden all of Mexico hates you, and they're telling you, you know what? Gas is only $3.20 in Tijuana. Assholes. Are people really driving from San Diego down to Tijuana, going through customs and all of this to buy gas for $1? Well, and that would be like $3 cheaper than it is in California. Would you do that?
No.
Drive to Tijuana?
$3.
No doubt you come back with a leather jacket or two. And, of course, still ringing in your ears from walking down the main drag there. Short time. All right. See, now I'm going to be in the jackpot here. I don't want to pull a Joe Biden. All right, we're going to come back with more in a moment. Sonny wants multiple choice on this. He was there. Jim, you were there.
You
Jim,
were there.
we love you, Jim. You covered it. You wrote the final story about how this dynamic playoff led to the, a very well-received win by a likable guy like Mark Calcavecchia. Just a regular guy out there on a golf tour, joking and swashbuckling his way around. And, Norman was defeated, of course. Everybody seemed to like seeing him in frustration. And, who was the other guy? You were there. Mayo would even remember if he was there. No? Mayo, whose memory is a little verklempt, as we say.
That's the problem, is his memory's all over the place. Even that stuff he covered.
He's showing signs of being a shot fighter, Mike Mayo.
He's eating too much. I didn't know the amount of food you could eat could have messed with your brain capacity, but it seems to be fucking with you.
He's going to have to start eating like a jellyfish sandwich just so he can remember what he had for breakfast. All right. What did I have, by the way? I don't remember. That was a while ago. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and Mike Lubitz returning in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:12.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Jim Sarney does know his golf, and one of his picks, remember yesterday I gave both Mike Mayo and Jim Sarney the sheet there just to see what they were thinking, and he picked this guy Fratelli, Jim Sarney, who I have no idea who this guy is. I just saw him. He got to 2 under with a birdie putt. So, and Shane Lowry, who started out in awful fashion, was +3 through 3 holes, bogeyed the first 3 holes. Shane Lowry, normally very reliable, right? I mean, you feel kind of safe if you're looking for a guy who, has a shot to be up there in the top 5 or 10, but, is unlikely to make the cut and usually is in contention. Shane Lowry, do you feel comfortable with this guy going into any golf tournament, Lubie? It's been around a while.
I feel like he's going to be in the mix. I feel like he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Especially what's good about you, the biggest part of your pool isn't the winner, because you've actually picked winners and then had 5 guys miss the cut. So it didn't help you. It's having the most guys who play consistent. That's really the way to go after this pool, right? So you want guys like a Lowry who are all around the top 10, top 15.
He's not going to kill you. Yeah.
Not screwing you. That's what you want.
And is unlikely to have some wild swing where he misses the cut at 8 over and you get stuck with 14 shots over par for the pool, which naturally is going to be such a roadblock that it would be too much to overcome. So he was 3 over. Now he's even par. So he's heating up. He's rising to the occasion here, Mike Lubitz, which is good. Ernie Els is now 5 under par. Ernie Els. Easy Ernie Els. I laughed when I saw his name on there.
I know.
Did we not mock it?
Yes, we definitely mocked it. Yep.
Ernie Els, yeah. Smooth, easy Ernie. And, I mean, if you know how to put the ball in a certain spots, I guess, this is tailor-made for you at St. Andrews. So what happens if Tiger Woods goes out there, blows them all away, and shoots 10 under? People are going to be flipping out here in the United States of America.
Lose their mind.
He must not have teed off here because I haven't seen a single shot of Tiger Woods, and you know that they would have. I mean, if this guy goes and takes a leak before the tournament's first hole, they're in the bathroom there with like some kind of GoPro camera and filming and taping the fact that Tiger does indeed urinate like most other human beings, but he does it better than anybody else. That's the whole thing. All right, good to have you with us here on the show, the Defo Show. We didn't conduct the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today. We tried to connect internationally, and it would have been a very exciting moment for us. I think if we were still affiliated with Jack, we would have been able to pull that off, the Maldives connection, or that was strictly on the end of when Dave Gurgles gurgled.
It's the other end. Yeah, we haven't had any issues, thank God, on this end since we've started doing things, which is cool on my part.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard. The reason we were able to have him work and not Paulie, and I love Gurgs, was Gurgs had a computer guy help him set it up from the beginning so we can get everything in. It's probably an easy, like he just needed to click this and say yes, allow, and he didn't. Which is
there you go.
He did send a video, and we'll post that on the South Florida YouTube channel. So if you want to, and the Facebook, I'll post it as well. Gurgs doing his Perdomo Maldives hangout thing. So we'll have that later on there. Gurgs in the Maldives, which good for him.
What do you do there? Smoke cigars? He smokes
hangout,
Perdomos,
It's a hangout kind of a thing. Like from what I know.
He's got the babe that they're not really romantically involved, but they're involved enough to be friends and enjoy these experiences together. Wow, is that like a freaking field day for a relationship, is it not, Lubie?
It's your dream that you may or may not be romantically involved, but at least
a 0.0 sense of commitment. Oh my God! And she pays her own way. All right, Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks. What do you make of that? Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks, or is this just another piece of New York media propaganda where everybody supposedly wants to go to the Knicks, including guys that would never go there on a dare?
No, Mitchell actually has interest in the Knicks. He just would rather be with the Heat. Like, he's a New York kid. He grew up with New York. If he could win with the Knicks, he'd be very happy there. Like, that's actually not a lie. Like, he does have interest in the Knicks. The problem is, he could go there, they could give up no one, and they still wouldn't be a top 6 seed. But going there, he'd have to go there for a trade.
Not even with Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell.
Well, because the problem is they're both tiny. Like, Brunson's like 6'1", Mitchell's maybe 6'2". That's going to be your backcourt, and neither's great defensively. Mitchell is actually athletic enough where he could be good defensively, and that's why a team with the Heat could probably make him better defensively because they have enough defensive guys that he wouldn't have to do everything. The Knicks, I mean... So that's the thing. That backcourt would be a disaster. But the problem is, to get him, you'd have to give up guys. So what would make you maybe a top 6, 7 seed, you now are getting rid of it. So now you're barely, to me, him and Brunson isn't a playoff team. The East is going to be interesting. Like, to me, they're not a playoff team. So you're trading for Donovan Mitchell to be like a 7, 8 seed. Like, that makes no sense. So to me, it feels like it's the Jazz. The Jazz are trying, everything the Jazz have done is to try and drum up interest. Like, when last week they're like, oh, we're not going to trade him. And then supposedly he put in an offer and it came out, well, we're going to build around him. But they just traded away Gobert and everything they had and brought in picks and no real players. Okay, so you're not building around him. You're lying. And then the other day it came out, well, yeah, we're just keeping him. We're not interested in trading him again. And then all of a sudden the Heat news came out about the Heat are interested in KD. The Heat are doing everything they can. The Heat are the most persistent team with KD. The next day, it came out, oh, the Jazz may be willing to trade him now. Like, it just feels like the Jazz want to trade him and are hoping to get the most interest possible. And people are waiting on the KD thing before they make a move for Donovan Mitchell. So to me, this is the Jazz saying, oh, shoot, the Heat may still be interested in KD. Maybe if we put out there that the Knicks are already talking to us, maybe the Heat will really up there.
So you're saying it's just
I think it's the Jazz. I think it's Ainge. Yeah. Ainge trying to pull a move and get the Heat into it, because the Heat are the team that have the most assets that could give up players and still be competitive. So if the Knicks gave up RJ Barrett and quickly and a bunch of picks, like, what are they after that? Brunson, Mitchell, and who?
Or a team with a small backcourt that has no other support.
Hero.
What about Julius Randle? I mean, does he remain if they get a guy like Mitchell? I don't know.
Well, that's
a good question. Anyway, that was a big story today. They were all over it. Donovan Mitchell, returning to the New York Knicks. That was being reported widely. I mean, not as a certainty, but as a matter of, bold speculation that this was the destination he wanted. Do you see Mike Lubie? It's Mr. Heat here. I mean, it's like talking to Eric Spoelstra. It's great. Do you see them making some kind of blockbuster move during this offseason? Will they look like not completely, but will they largely reconfigure the team around either a Mitchell, a Kevin Durant, or somebody. I guess who else would be out there of that stature? Nobody at this point.
Well, Colin
But
Sexton's another one that is not happy in Cleveland, and he's going to be up for a contract, or he just got a contract, and Cleveland's not really winning with him. And the Heat do like him. He's a bigger point guard, and that's if you're not going to get one of those two guys, then they do need point guard help. Like Kyle Lowry's.
all right, so do you see them, making one of those moves?
100.
If you want to make it one of three moves.
I think in the end, Durant ends up with the Suns and Mitchell ends up with the Heat. Like that just seems to be
okay.
what happens. Like I don't know if they do a 4-team. There's supposedly a rumor of the Jazz and Nets and Pacers and Suns working a trade. Then Mitchell ends up in Brooklyn, which he doesn't want to be, and now you're gonna have him pissed off and like that's the whole point. Is if you're getting one of these superstars, they have to be happy, not because they have a no trade clause. Like you can trade them anywhere, but if now in their new spot they bitch and want to get traded, then you gave up a ton for nothing. Like you don't want to do that. You want to get one of these guys in a place where they're happy. Look what the Raptors are happy. They
James
got
Harden. Yeah, I mean, that may be just because Harden himself is certifiably strange, or appears to be. Harden, if he spoke more often, more frequently, would be Kyrie Irving. Would he not? In terms of level of lunacy, or apparently, subscribing to a method of thought that is foreign to the most common basketball fans, where you believe the Earth is flat, for God's sake, right? Is it, Lubie? I don't know. I mean,
it's a round thing.
I can see that it's like this ball, right? That looks like the Larry O'Brien Trophy out here. All right, so that's going on, and it's interesting because it's all speculation there. And Sarni was right about this. He really was. I mean, there was definitive action taken in NHL free agency, and they're not afraid to go and trade like 12 guys for another, 11 coming from the other team. Like franchises are swapped by the owners. The guy, hey, who wants to play in Winnipeg? Nobody. Okay, so. No, that was interesting because there were many, what you would think would be franchise influencing, if not, transformational acquisitions made and transactions that went down in NHL free agency. While none of this happens in the NBA for the most part, because you had all this speculation about your man Damian Lillard, who he ended up right back where he was for like $120 million, even though everybody was saying, oh, man, this guy's going to end up somewhere else. No.
Well, it's funny. That's literally my thought was yesterday. Jim said that, and then instantly the bottom line was just NHL transactions.
Yeah, all NHL transactions. Big ones.
And I was like, well, good for Jim. And second, I was like, so why does the NBA, like, they do it on purpose because they get us to talk about this for weeks on end, and nothing happens. The NHL opening, the day opens, they not only either do signs, they also do the trades. Yeah.
Six guys are with different teams already.
It's like,
a relatively, reasonably high stature in the NHL. Six guys.
I was like, come on, NBA, do that. Yeah. That'd be great. Heat, do that. Like, I hate.
Well, you have the player leaking information. You have Jim Gray out there conducting those, the decision programs. And it's kind of like the kids now in college where they line up to 6 hats, and they start, faking this one, putting this one on. Next thing you know, the guy unzips his shirt, and there it is. He's got a U tattooed on his chest in green and orange. And you're thinking, well, yeah, that represents some sort of a commitment, does it not?
I hope he doesn't flip.
What's Nick crying about, by the way? Nick Saban.
He's always crying.
What is he crying about? Is he worried that the SEC is going to fall on its face at some point in time? He was making comments about like the Big 12, which I didn't get a chance to see, but I saw it was being promoted on ESPN. Naturally, Nick speaks, thus spoke Zarathustra, and whatever he's saying, he's going to be whining about something, even though he is fully taking advantage of that very same thing in principle.
Yeah. Like, it's the Big Ten. The Big Ten is coming for the SEC. And he said, look, I can see that there's going to be 2 conferences. Thank you. Yeah, there will. Okay, I don't care what the ACC, Pac-12 do and these stupid-ass combinations they're trying to create to feel better about themselves. In the end, the reality is you compete with the SEC and the Big Ten about the money. It's about ESPN and Fox, one getting behind one getting behind the other, and now they're going at it. And that's what we're seeing. That's what's going to happen. I mean, inevitably, in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe 10 years, but it'll probably be less. You're going to just see the 2 conferences. And then that's what I'm curious is what happens to the other, like the Pittsburghs and the Louisville, who are actual football programs, have history, but they don't draw. So, like, if this year the Big Ten, you don't want them, but they're not Grambling State or North Dakota State, right? Like, they have enough history where they should play football. So, like, I don't know what happens to those. That's the only question I have.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. Anytime Nick speaks, I'm always curious to hear what it is that he's bitching about. And then wondering, to what level of advantage is he taking, those methods into practice, that help him immensely. And, yet he's complaining about other guys doing the same thing.
Exactly.
So, how much longer does he stick with it? I mean, how much longer does this guy go on? An ego is a terrible thing to waste. Obviously, I guess he still enjoys it, no? Because have you ever seen a guy look more miserable doing a job that was a piece of cake?
I don't know.
I mean, think about it, right? You're the head coach in Alabama. You're Nick Saban. You've got the reputation already there. And every year the recruiting, I mean, no matter what Mario Cristobal does here, which it seems like every other day the Hurricanes are signing another, 9-star recruit.
Yeah, 4 and 5 stars only. And it's been the last.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Now what happened there? Did they bring back, Art Kehoe or something? Well, I mean, you would think Cristobal would be amenable to that. No, is Art Kehoe still around? I mean, they had all these guys that had tremendous ties to the local high schools during the Schnellenberger era. These assistant coaches. I don't know. Is Don Solinger still alive? Don Solinger? He was a real, hard-nosed, typical guy that you would think of as, a lifetime assistant football coach. I guess he might have been a high school coach here and then got the job on the UM staff. And guess what, Lubie? He had connections.
Yeah.
But they were getting all of these guys at one time, and obviously it was the thing that helped them sustain that level of dominance that they had for almost 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Ruiz guy, look, Cristobal is a good recruiter, and he's put a staff together of guys that recruit. But Ruiz, and again, I don't know how long this will last because
Julian says it's Ruiz, the guy with the cash.
Is very sketch.
When does he turn into Nevin Shapiro? This guy. I mean, anybody heard from Nevin lately? He must be out by now, right? What did he get? 10 years on that thing out. Where he had the bogus grocery stores in the Dominican Republic or whatever it was that he was hawking.
He's been out. He just hasn't surfaced anywhere. But Ruiz has put.
You're not going to see him arm in arm with Donna Shalala with a big cardboard check anymore. Here you go, Donna. Donna Shalala should have been bright enough to maybe question the source of these funds. What do you think?
Obviously,
you see a rich guy, do you automatically believe that he got there, by completely honest and legitimate means?
I don't.
Like a filthy rich guy that's 26 years old and is hanging out, with rappers and all of the UM football players. Just happens to have a ton of capital at a very young age, even though there's no history of wealth in his family. And he has no job to speak of. It's what do you do? Eddie's in Miami, the capital of scams. No, they never question it. I mean, when Donna was picking up, I've seen any number of pictures of Nevin Shapiro handing big cardboard checks to Donna Shalala. And, he was running the University of Miami at the time. And now, is she still in Congress, Shalala, or did she get knocked out?
No, she's a senator.
A U.S. representative of some sort? I want to say representative.
Yeah,
did she win that? Donna Shalala.
Yeah,
Donna Shalala, down by the shore. Anyway, never questioned any of that. So is this Ruiz guy unscrupulous? I mean, what's the story there, Lubie? Do we know what he does? But he's doing this. He's bringing all these recruits in with the name, image, and likeness.
A lot of money directly for recruiting, which is not what it's for. So a kid will come, the rumors will come out how much money he got, and then days later they'll walk it back because you're really not allowed to do that yet.
Suitcase full of cash type of stuff.
Kids in the state of Florida, supposed to, every state has different rules, so they're working on trying to make it unilateral. But so that's why you'll see the quarterback was supposed to got $9 million, and then the next day Ruiz, the school's no. That's not true. That figure at all. What do you mean? But you're not allowed to do it. So, whereas
you think Jimbo is going to come forward and disclose these figures? I would doubt it.
No. Well, that's the thing. The other school are yelling and screaming, "We're not doing this at all. What do you mean?" Because they know they can get in trouble. So they're doing it, obviously. Look, Texas has been average, and suddenly Texas is getting every 5-star. A&M is never recruited like that. Like Jimbo top 8, but they got not only number 1, they blew away Georgia and Bama. So obviously they're doing it. It's just you have to be smart about it. But a lot of schools aren't all in like Ruiz. Like Ruiz is just like any money he has, he's throwing it at recruits, and it's working.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I hope he builds that.
On the field.
Hope he builds that stadium too. That'd be awesome, right? Just another $1 billion. That would be pretty good. It's unbelievable and unfathomable that college football would probably be less transparent when it came to monetary transactions than the World Boxing Council. So, right? I mean, they may as well get one of the Suleimans, to come in here and run college football now. Never mind Mark Emmert. Where's he, by the way, on all of this?
He's retiring. He's done. This is, I think, his last
Finished?
year. He's already out. Yeah. Yep.
He probably made a pretty nice score, though, in his capacity of, talk about a do-nothing job. You're the guy who's in charge of regulating an unregulated business. A deregulated business. I mean, the government has said, listen, man, anything goes now, college football. We don't care.
Oh, for sure.
We're not going to, and to their credit, I mean, look, this cloak of amateurism has been the biggest, hypocritical thing that you've ever seen in sport. It's kind of like Lance Armstrong telling you he was clean all of those years. Unbelievable. I mean, it's a dramatic change. Jim Larinaga was telling us about that a couple of years ago. Remember?
Yep.
How this was going to shake up the entire college football, which you could imagine that being the case. But I don't know that people saw what's going on right now transpiring so quickly. Where and at least we're a player in the game. If you're a University of Miami fan, you think this is going to result in championships? What if Cristobal brings them back to glory?
Oh no, then that would be insane. I mean, that's what Canes fans think is happening.
Succeeding where so many have failed in the last 20 years, right? Going all the way back to Larry Coker.
Yep. It was the beginning of the end. Yep.
Last championship coach, Larry Coker, man. Unbelievable. The Manny Diaz thing, that wasn't so favorable, was it? Imagine they pulled this guy off Temple, the campus at Temple. He'd already taken a job there. That was a real screwy situation, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was the DC here, took that job, and then the next day UM got scared. Didn't even do a coaching search and just gave him the job.
They broke Cosby out of prison just to greet him. An hour later, Cosby was back in jail, and Diaz was at UM. All right, we're going to come back with more in a moment here. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, Gurgles in the Maldives. Next week, we'll have a challenge. I'll drum up some questions. Always can go back in the archives there for the ones I was asking 20 years ago. But we'll come up with some fresh stuff for you next week on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We still have that one proposition out there.
No one's answered.
Get to that in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:34. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Leslie Visser, a lovely and talented one. I mean, the first woman and for a long time, the only woman. There are now two in the NFL Hall of Fame. I mean, in there, all of the greats. Johnny U, Joe Willie, all of our favorites. Joe Montana, the great Dan Marino. And Leslie Visser, part of the scene in the NFL Hall of Fame. But what level of attention is it to be the first guest on our new program? Because I would imagine Leslie Visser, and by the way, how are you? Thanks so much for joining us here on the program.
Is this an after special?
This isn't practice. We're doing it. We're all over the world.
Congratulations to you guys. I want to know. I'm so proud to be your first guest, and of course, I have a number of things to go over that maybe this time it could be different. You know, it's not
Yes. You think we're going to erase the past all at once here in one program? It's impossible.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. I didn't give you the proposition question there because I was about to choke to death as the slightest drip down the wrong chute, and the next thing you know, it's real tough on a broadcaster. That doesn't happen to you very often, Lubie, does it? Where all of a sudden you just, on the threshold of, eating it right there in the air.
No, I usually don't do that on here. I mean, in life, maybe, but not here.
Yeah.
I usually hold it off.
It's a particularly comfortable position to be in when you know this next word is going to set off a coughing fit, choking fit that, you would think you swallowed a razor blade.
Oh, God.
All right, the 1989 British Open. The British Open is on now. I love this. I mean, Justin Thomas, who's wearing like a weird pair of like Ian Poulter type of pants. He's got like a straight leg pair of pants on that look to be of the flood pants variety, like Papa Joe Paterno. Remember, he always had the flood pants, and you wondered why he was wearing cleats there on the sidelines. He would wear that. What do you have? A gray suit, Papa Joe?
Oh,
gray
yeah.
suit all the time. Flood pants and a pair of cleats. And you're thinking, how deep are you digging into that turf there, Papa Joe, that you can't manage to stay on your feet with a pair of shoes? I guess they were more comfortable. I'm not sure. But anyway, Justin Thomas, and he just like drove the green on a 325-yard hole, which for the pros, 325, very doable, especially with the roll that you get here at the course in Scotland, St. Andrews, where the tournament's taking place. Tiger's about to, he's coming to the tee in about an hour or so. Tiger Woods.
Yeah, teed off, Jesus.
Right. So that'll dominate the rest of the day's coverage here as Tiger, even though guys are like making eagles as we speak, they had a live shot of Tiger dropping a bucket of practice balls on the ground there. And looking around going, I'm Tiger Woods. All right, 1989, the British Open. Greg Norman is in a playoff. He loses the playoff. Mark Calcavecchia wins his championship. Greg Norman was one of the participants in a three-man playoff. Who was the other guy? Jim Sarney, who was there, doesn't know the answer to this. We are still operating on the honor system here on the Defo Show, which is really taking a giant risk. I mean, this is a quantum leap in the direction of the unknown to try and expect people to abide by the honor system and not look this up. Okay, so who was the other guy? Sonny was calling for multiple choice on this, but I don't know that I could come up. But we kind of have come up with the other choices. It's not like it couldn't be anybody else but this guy. And believe me, I wouldn't be able to come up with it either. I mean, there's just no way that this name would ever pop into my head among golfers in the past unless I was reading it off the graphic where I got this question. Okay? But it struck me odd that Calcavecchia, he looked pretty good going out there, Mark Calcavecchia. And that's one of the nice aspects of these kind of tournaments where the previous champions get an automatic qualification in there. So you're seeing John Daly actually shot one over. Not too bad, John Daly.
Over the prize.
You think he would prosper on a course like this? No trees, right, John Daly?
I just pounded.
Gripping and ripping, man. I mean, it was always great, having this guy, in contention in tournaments, and he did win. That was his big breakthrough, wasn't it? Was he the winner of 2 majors, John Daly? I want to say 2 on that, John Daly. One was the British Open, and he might have won what? Did he win a PGA or a U.S. Open? See if you can check that out for us, Lubie. Anyway, the action is hot and heavy. Everybody's just annihilating par. Rory McIlroy is very much in it. He still has like 7 holes to play, I think, and is 4 under. The leader is Cameron Young at 7 under, and that Cameron Smith guy is 5 under. So those 2 Camerons that I just went right by on that list are 12 under par altogether. We being the so-called the old Red Barber thing, the catbird seat. After day 1 of the tournament, no matter as long as our other guys didn't completely blow a gasket and shoot themselves out of contention. I like it when guys are like 7-8 over though in this tournament. When the wind is howling and there's fog and rain,
stressed out.
Every shot is an errant shot. Here's my man Rory for eagle. Oh, it hit the hole and bounced out. Lubie,
so Billy won the PGA championship in 1991. And he won the Open Championship in 1995. Those are his 2, as you said.
2 majors. Okay.
Majors. Yes.
I mean, it's hard to say if he looks okay. He's got like this weird ZZ Top kind of beard that he's working right now. John Daly, obviously, he's always been known to be overweight. I mean, that was one of his signatures was this sort of big pot belly. I mean, it's like Butterbean Esh with a 9-iron. Watching John Daly. At one time, though, I mean, the guy, his power was the overwhelming force in golf. Remember that, Lubie? Kind of like DeChambeau became. But DeChambeau didn't really, I mean, he put it together for a reasonably hot streak there, but he wasn't able to sustain it. I guess injuries might have been the juice, huh, Bryson? Huh?
Honestly.
Juice? We're not talking apple or orange here. We're talking, Bob Baffert's veterinarian getting involved in this. And all of a sudden you go from like a waif like 175 to 225 of solid.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger like rock. And, and you're hitting the ball 400 yards with a 6-iron. Unbelievable. Yeah, Victor Hovland was alive here, but he's in one of these bunkers, Lubie. So that's always interesting to see if the guy. How many shots would it take you to get out of this bunker? He's up against the wall. His only option, I think, is to careen it. Oh, he's going to shoot it left-handed with a putter or something. Wow, are you kidding me? This is a shot that you have to take on these crazy European courses here. I mean, Meshuggah. But how do you practice that one?
I don't know. I love that you have to hit straight up. You should just play against the wall and just practice working it up.
He's never going to get this thing out of here, right? And the guy, I mean, his caddy is going berserk, like it was Jean Vandervelde with driver on 18 there. That 1 year where, he blew the 3-shot lead on the final hole. Crazy stuff. All right, we got into a little bit of this basketball thing. So you think that the Heat are going to actually make one of these moves. I don't know that I see that. Yep. Although, never put it past Pat Riley.
That's it.
He has to be salivating. I mean, but wouldn't Pat Riley be all in on Durant being his guy?
He is, but to me, you have to give up too much to get Durant to where it doesn't put you over the top. Durant is definitely a better player than Donovan Mitchell. Durant's also 34. Durant also had leg and back issues. So if you're the Heat, Mitchell's 25. And I think in the end, you don't have to give up a Bam. To get Durant, Bam would be almost impossible. And you don't want to give up Bam. Bam's young. He's a top 5 big man. He's a top 3 defender, all around defender in the NBA. Offensive game has grown, and it will continue to grow. So you don't want to give up Bam. He's a part of your build going forward. What's cool about a Mitchell is he can help you win now, and then you can also, as Jimmy ages out, build around Bam and Mitchell. If you get rid of Bam for Durant's old. So now you have Jimmy who's like 33, 34. You have Durant who's 34. Like, you have a really short lifespan. And to me, you want to be like the Warriors, right? Like the Warriors are winning now, and now these young guys can keep it going so they don't have to have that time period of suck. Like, go after Durant, fine. But to me, if you can get Mitchell, and not have to give up Bam, do it. Like, why not? You'll be the best team in the East, and you could compete with anyone else.
And it's amazing how Duncan Robinson went from being an essential,
Now you just
piece of the Heat dynamics to being like a persona non grata, really, like Greg Norman
honestly.
is at at St. Andrews. It's pretty incredible to see that happen, and yet I don't know, was a guy that bad this year? He sure fell into disfavor for some reason. Grant Long, when he was on with us, sort of implied I didn't believe this to be the case. I thought that Duncan Robinson had no problem and was completely immersed and through his veins, was circulating Heat culture. No,
he was frustrated because he had finally gotten his place. He was starting when he should have been a bench guy, but he was starting for rotational purposes.
They were doing all these wonderful poo-poo stories about, look at this guy, came from such humble beginnings, and here he is, Mr. Heat.
Yeah,
like he was second only to Mickey Arison in terms of the Heat's regard for one of their personnel.
Well, Haslam is the one that's like
then gone. Yeah, UD going to come back as a player again? When does Adam Silver look into that?
That's my favorite. The whole game to keep
why not just put Zoe on the roster as a player also while you're at it? How could they possibly justify that?
I don't
know. It's crazy, right?
The Robinson thing was he was helping them spread the floor. His 3-point shooting was good, and even it struggled early on, but he figured it out. The problem is he does nothing else. Strus was actually able to do a lot of the shooting that Robinson was doing, and he actually picked up defense a lot better, and he could do other things. And he's cheaper. Like,
Strus is one of those guys, when you first saw him, you thought, what is this guy doing on the roster?
100%.
And then every time he took the floor, you thought, wow, this guy can play a little bit. And then, he got the nod. I guess, I don't know, is that determined in practice of all things? That Strus, I mean, you just gave the guy like $50 million. And next thing you know, you got some scrub beating him out for the starting spot, and almost all playing time was distributed elsewhere. We're starting to get like Scoop Skolnick here talking about Heat minutes.
I'm proud of you.
I don't know that, the interesting aspect always to me is Pat Riley and whether or not he's going to pull off some kind of blockbuster move, and you're looking, as you very, expertly pointed out there, that Donovan Mitchell has probably a better option because he's 24 years old, and who knows? Durant was great this year, but he's had problems, right? I mean, there's always a chance that he pulls a muscle and is out for the rest of the season.
Yep. And then you've given up all this youth for nothing. At least Mitchell is young. He's hungry. He showed he can play defense. He is a guy that can do everything offensively that you need. And he's a guy that wants to be in Miami. And we've seen when guys want to be in Miami, they buy into the Heat culture crap. And you saw PJ Tucker and you saw these guys rejuvenate their careers. People forgot about PJ Tucker. He was a big part of the Bucks, but the Bucks really should have taken him. And they were like, whatever. Well, you saw how important PJ Tucker was, but a lot of that was being in Miami. You've talked about this for years. Like the Heat culture thing, as much as we make fun of that, it's one of the intangible things that feels tangible because people talk about it so much. Mitchell could rejuvenate his career. He's already a great player, but like take it to another level. And to me, Durant's already done that. He's on the other side. He is a guy that does get disgruntled. He is a guy that does mess with chemistry. And that's the one thing this Heat team has. They like each other. They had a brawl on the sidelines, and by the press conference, it was over. Like it was over because that's how they're a family kind of a thing. And Spoelstra is the perfect head to that. When Riley wants something to happen, he makes it happen. Like as much as I gave him a lot of shit 3-4 years ago because they were really in a bad situation.
Dion Waiters, man. Dion Waiters. Think about that.
But that's what I'm saying. Within 1 year, and Waiters, you couldn't get rid of. Johnson, you couldn't get rid of. Owen, you couldn't get rid of. You couldn't. All these contracts that were in.
And he gave all those guys all of that money, too. I mean, and they all laid an egg, from that point on.
But what Riley's shown is, if I mess up, don't worry, I'll fix it. Within 1 year, he got rid of all those contracts, Hassan Whiteside, all of them, and brought in Jimmy Butler, and they were back in the finals. So to me, on his way out, he's not going to do less. That's my thing.
He had to take on the contracts of several deceased players. Yeah, I think we're paying Hondo Havlicek to be a member of the Miami Heat. He might have his contract somewhere there in his drawer. I don't know. Andy Ellisberg, it's amazing. The guy was an intern and always was a very likable fellow. In fact, I remember Andy when he was bringing guests to the Jim managed Sunday night sports rap show that I was on for a while. And he was the guy who accompanied any Heat guest, and we used to get very good guests coming to the show. Top level people coming. Madnich had this kind of pull, and I was able to get him to come live to the studio there, Channel 33, I think, was where we had the show. We would get Marino to come out once a year. That was always phenomenal. But Andy would bring over Heat players or Heat personnel, the Heat coaches, and he was an intern. You were thinking this guy literally is like going and getting coffee for Mick. Right. And now he's like, the expert capologist in a mathematical system that I don't even think Rene Descartes could have deciphered. Who the hell, when they start printing stories and guys are babbling about NBA salary cap, you got Woj on there or Windhorst or any of these people. Even our own beloved friend, Ira Winderman, who knows the stuff. I mean, but who the hell can understand it? Right. And who knew they had an early bird special in the NBA? The early bird.
I thought you were lying, and then I looked into it. I'm like, so what's the early bird?
The early bird, like you could sign a guy under the Larry Bird rule, even though he's only been in the league for a half an hour.
And get a salad and a soup and a certain
coffee. And dessert comes with it, and coffee or tea. No, I always like when they trade for dead guys, dead contracts in the NBA. That's like among my favorite transactions. Never mind Lou Brock for Ernie Broglio. Where you're thinking, is it worth giving up a 20-game winner for a guy that's hitting 260? I guess so. That was one of those deals that favor lopsided.
Dolph Shays into the deal.
Yeah. Danny Shays, yeah. Mikan was traded yesterday by the Lakers to Minnesota, going back to his roots in Minneapolis. All right. No, it's crazy. I don't know. I really kind of hope they do that. I'd like to see Jimmy Butler working with one of those kind of guys, either Mitchell or Kevin Durant. I would actually like to see Durant come to the Miami Heat, but as you say, it's prohibitive because do the Heat have any draft picks in the next century?
They do. They just don't. The Knicks have 8 in the next 2 drafts, and that's the thing. Like the Knicks, they have 8. It might be 8 first rounders in the next 2 or 3 drafts, and they could trade. They could trade 2 out of the next 3 years, and that's what Jazz will be looking for. But the Jazz also want players, and that to me is the Knicks would have to go totally all in. And then what is that Mitchell there for? You keep Brunson, you keep Mitchell, maybe you keep. Okay, what are you, an 8th seed, 7th seed? So Mitchell just left a team that could be a 7th, 8th seed, has been in the playoffs every year to go to a team to do the same thing. That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand.
But playing in New York at Madison Square Garden,
he'll be home.
Where again, I can't help but think that Rocky Marciano is rolling over in his grave, thinking that Jake Paul is going to headline a pay-per-view card at Madison Square Garden as he takes on, after a 5-0 start to his professional boxing career, takes on the first actual boxer that he will face.
Yeah, exactly. I hope
he's fought a cheerleader.
He's fought every MMA guy on the planet.
2 stiffs from MMA that obviously had suffered severe dementia during their times competing in mixed martial arts, because they certainly didn't look like much of a match. It's amazing. How is that possible that this guy is headlining a boxing card at Madison Square Garden? I mean, this is reserved for, people that are in the, highest annals of boxing history, like a Joe Louis would be headlining a card there. Jake Paul?
Well, have you seen his pay-per-view numbers? Look, it's why Mayweather still was fighting until recently. People still buy it for a ridiculous number, $50, $75 to watch Jake Paul. Who gives a shit?
Incredible, yeah. And like an undercard that includes basketball players, and I mean, you'd be better off just paying like a couple of bucks and going and see the roller derby when it comes to town. No, probably get more, realistic violence in pro wrestling. All right, we're coming back and to wrap things up in just a sec. It's been a lot of fun being with you, even though we were going to conduct an international version of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today, and unfortunately, our technology didn't measure up. As you said, it's probably Gurgles needed to punch a button. Yesterday, and this is a sad thing to admit, man, maybe it's a sign of old age. It's like finding your car keys in the refrigerator after you've been looking for them all over the house. I remember I was saying a Mustang didn't leave me your car key when I was trying to drive down to the even keel for the mail lunchbox.
You just didn't realize it.
I didn't realize, because I didn't realize you push a button and the key pops out.
Yeah.
I never drive her car, but how did I not remember that, right? That's just, you're looking at that and flabbergasted at how stupid you could possibly be as I'm texting her and saying, hey, where the hell's the car key, man? You left me stranded here. Jim Sarni had to come pick me up from the house here so I could jog down there. And by the way, those Bang Bang Shrimp, I thought they were phenomenal yesterday. I really did, at the Even Keel Fish Shack. Different way of doing it, like everybody's got their own variation on a theme. This Brad is a very clever guy, the guy that owns that place. And big fan of the show, which is always appreciated by us. All right, we'll come back, wrap things up in just a moment here on this edition of the Defo Show. Tomorrow, Degenerate Friday, Professor with the Big Board. I kind of wish he would reprise that one he did last week because it sounded phenomenal. I was sorry I missed that. And, of course, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, will be salivating and slobbering all over the entries for Saratoga, no doubt. And the man has bank right now after that $3 hit for like $8.29 on a trifecta. Pretty amazing score there on the get out race at Belmont Park. How about that? When you get out of the meeting there and you're ready for the next meet and you've already got a bankroll, no better position to be in. It's a real luxury. All right, back in a moment. Now that. It's 8:56.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Angeli, were you a member of the Corleone family? Did you serve under capital regime under Vito Corleone, also known as the Godfather?
I never knew Godfather.
You are contradicting a sworn statement you previously made to me in sign. If I ask you again, sir, here and now under oath, were you at any time a member of a crime organization headed by Michael Corleone?
I don't know nothing about that. Oh, I was in the olive business with his father. But that was a long time ago. That's all.
We have a sworn affidavit. We have your sworn affidavit that you murdered on the orders of Michael Corleone. Do you deny this confession?
Look, the FBI guys, they promised me a deal. So I made up a lot of stuff about Michael Corleone, because that's what they wanted. But it was all lies. Everything. And I kept saying, Michael Corleone did this, and Michael Corleone did that. So I said, yeah, sure.
It's now time for Defo Show.
Another excerpt from the January 6th Capitol hearings. I said, yeah, sure. Let's just all run down to the Capitol building here.
God.
I'm going to hear from the big man himself on this thing.
Probably not.
I mean, it's about one guy. I mean,
Obviously.
the themes of democracy and all of that obviously are in play here. But let's face it, man. It's about, hey, Donnie.
Yeah, he did it.
What did you know and when did you know it, my friend? That's it. What do we want to know? Where are those tapes? That would have been fun if they had the tape. I don't know. Did they erase that somehow or not record that screaming fest?
Obviously.
You would think tapes of that would be rather hysterical with Giuliani and company. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're alive with a lot of guys here. I don't think we're doing any damage so far. with the guys I have in the pool. Tiger hasn't teed off yet. He tees off at 10 o'clock, talking about following the British Open and the scores. I have Lowry now. Even, I think, is my worst guy. And everybody else is McIlroy is doing well. He's 5 under, but he's in a little bit of a jackpot. I think his ball just ricocheted off one of those brick walls in the bunkers and bounced out into a much more favorable position. So that's going strongly. Jim Sarney points out, and this was kind of cool, a marvelous day of TV viewing. If I can find this thing here, let's see. Where did it go? Okay, yeah.
And Tiger, Saratoga, Marlins day game, women's Euro,
Italy versus Iceland. I've been looking forward to that match.
Yeah, that's me. NBA, NHL channels for news, and he'll be at Twin Peaks eating loaded fries for Bastille Day.
Yesterday was like National French Fry Day, man. Brad brought out a bunch of French fries for us at the Even Keel Fish Shack, which they do very well, by the way.
Yeah,
and Mike Mayo is going to join us 12 o'clock here on South Florida Live. Lunchbox on the road today from the Bang Shack. With Nikki Mohan. Always a pleasure having Nikki on anything that, especially on our own channel here. I mean, how much of a distinction it rises us to a new level.
Yes,
of class and dignity to have Nikki Mohan on. And so she's going to join Mike Mayo later on today, 12 o'clock. Am I on board for this? I'll click on and then
segment. Yeah, do the first segment. Just say hello.
Maybe Mayo will come to his senses, after that. Realize that may as well just keep the thing right there on location, right? Who needs to see some old fart talking about, eating a bowl of Chipotle? Maybe passing gas while he's on the air. All right. Thanks, people, for tuning in. A lot of fun being with you. Degenerate Friday tomorrow. Thanks for being with us. From Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Until we meet again, we will say have a great day, everybody, as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:02.
Let's go to eat a snack.
Will be a big end to my show.